Hi, welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder. And before we get started, I want to just tell everybody that all of the merchandise at thebadassbreastfeeder.com is 40% off for the holidays. So if you head over to thebadassbreastfeeder.com, you can find My Mom is a Badass Breastfeeder shirts for babies and toddlers. Thank you for nursing in public cards, and I'm a Badass keychains. And it's all already marked down 40% off over there at thebadassbreastfeeder.com.
If you listen to this podcast,
Thanks.
Your baby has to have a shirt. I'm sorry.
I know. They're very cute shirts.
They really are. Yeah, they really are.
So what do we talk? Oh, review of the week.
Yes, review of the week. I have it picked out, and it says, Dianne and Abby are queens. That's the title.
Oh.
So,
wow.
How can you argue with that?
How can we not read that to you?
This is by K362DW. As a new mother, I'm always looking for help and inspiration on our breastfeeding journey. Dianne and Abby are wonderfully knowledgeable. The Badass Breastfeeding Podcast is full of information and advice every week. I'm a little more empowered after every podcast. Thank you, ladies. #Lactivists Unite.
Aw. Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
really awesome.
I love being called a queen.
I know. I love that she says she's a little bit more empowered after every episode. That's awesome.
It's just it really
and
is.
I was just talking to somebody about this today. I was saying the most awesome thing that anybody ever said to me about my blog was, she said, I feel like reading your blog, reading about your struggles. Wait, how did she put it? Your reading about your struggles made it so that your struggles were not mine. You know, this is what we're all doing, right? We're all sharing our experiences. This is this whole big thing, like social media. Like, we're sharing our experiences. We're telling about the struggles that we had. And really the goal is so that it helps somebody not go through that same thing.
Yeah.
That it makes it better for somebody else.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
It makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah. Right. If you're not making it better for somebody else, then what are we doing?
So we're hoping to make it better.
So thanks.
Today.
Yes. And we have a really cool topic today.
We do. And excuse me for keep clearing my throat. I don't know what my problem is. I just ate a
Diane's
veggie burger.
getting sick.
I don't know. It's I don't know if it's just my office is dry or what, but
it's just wintertime. Wintertime podcasts are filled with it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry if I sound gross. I'm not in here chewing tobacco or anything, I promise. But what we are going to talk about today, we are going to talk about the no-nos of breastfeeding.
Yeah.
So
all those things you're not supposed to do.
Yeah. So
at least that's what Google says.
One of my biggest pet peeves, I swear to God, and I'm becoming way more intolerant of it as I get more and more into my field, and let's just say it, as I get older, because I'm getting old. So the more I grow with my life, the more irritated I am when people tell me that they can't do certain things when they're breastfeeding, or they were told they can't do something specific, or there's all these rules. Why are there all these rules around it? There wasn't all these rules a million years ago.
Exactly. How in the world did people function without Google telling them all these things not to do?
Right. How did it ever happen? Come on. So we are going to talk about some of these no-nos today, and we're going to blow them out of the water. Because
yes.
I hate it.
And then we could talk about some actual no-nos, because I have a few actual no-nos, which probably people don't even think about.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
You know what I mean? There are some things that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't drink and share a bed with your baby.
Right. That is a no-no.
You shouldn't do that.
Yep.
However, drinking is fine.
We're all about
drinking alcohol. Yeah. You can see the alcohol episode. It is our single most popular episode.
Oh my God,
because we really break down the science for you. But you'll hear left and right from doctors up above, everywhere, the doctor is your grandma, whatever, that you should not drink alcohol and breastfeed. Mm-hmm. That somehow your baby's going to get drunk or your breast milk is tainted, and it's just not. That's just not true.
Right. Or they're somehow going to be predisposed to being an alcoholic.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So, yeah.
That's not what's happening.
It's not.
But you could see, yeah. So that's one of those things that's just really annoying. And you hear it all the time. And I even hear people say like, well, I'm a lactation educator and, here's how, you hear all these things like, if you're tipsy, your baby's tipsy. What?
What?
How in the world is that even? No.
It doesn't make any sense.
Stop. It's the fear mongering. I cannot stand the fear mongering that goes on with breastfeeding.
I know. It's like,
and it just makes it, this is the thing. These are like it just makes it, it just creates so many barriers. It's like, here, I just want to live a normal life and, have a baby for crying out loud.
It is just unbelievable to me. You know how many times I have to say to somebody, your body created a baby. Why would you not be able to feed that baby? Like, why would there be something wrong with your milk that you can't feed your baby? When you're doing just normal, everyday things that have been done for thousands of years. You're just living your life and going on about your business, and somebody says, oh, your baby spits up? Maybe they're allergic to your breast milk. And then that gets into your brain. Does that even make any sense? It doesn't even make any sense. Your baby
your human baby is allergic to your human milk.
Right. It does not. Let's break it down. This is not, it's insane is what it is. It is absolutely insane.
What are your favorite no-nos?
Well,
I mean, your most hated, let's say.
Oh, God. I think food. That's one of my most hated ones, is food.
Okay, so is it true? Like people say, oh, you're not supposed to eat sushi if you're breastfeeding. Is that true?
No, not even a little bit. Eat the sushi. You can't eat it when you're pregnant, from what I understand. I was never a sushi eater because of my vegetarian thing. But from what I understand, you're not supposed to eat sushi when you're pregnant. But when you're breastfeeding...
I don't know anything about that. Yeah. I mean, I've heard that. I guess I always thought that was one of those fear-mongering things, too.
It very well could be.
But I
don't know.
Well, I think the thing is that there is a risk when you eat raw food.
Yeah.
Whether you're pregnant or not.
Yeah.
And so you assume those risks, and so those risks are still there when you're pregnant.
Right. But it's just, it's...
Anyway, we're talking about breastfeeding, breastfeeding podcast, Badass Breastfeeding Podcast, not Badass Pregnant Podcast.
I don't know that I can even do that podcast, so don't hold out hope for that one. So the food thing, eat all the sushi you want. Eat whatever you want. Eat whatever your little heart desires. I have had people tell me some crazy things that they were told that they cannot eat. Crazy.
Like what? Like what? I want to hear. I want to kind of Google it right now.
Okay. Chocolate.
What? Oh my God. I would wean. Oh my God. I would wean immediately.
I had this one. I've heard chocolate several times, but I did have this one woman that I remember specifically. I was at her house and we were doing, I was like doing some educating with her. We're getting the baby latch. We're doing all this stuff. And she just looked at me and she goes, "Can I have chocolate again?" And I was like, oh my God, yes. Like, why would you ever think that you couldn't? And she's like, somebody told me I can't have chocolate when I'm breastfeeding. Like, no, you can have as much chocolate as you want. So chocolate.
Oh my God.
Citrus fruits. Sorry. Don't ask me.
Citrus fruits?
Yeah, I heard citrus fruits.
Oh, those are so nourishing. Have all of those.
Right. Anything that makes you gassy will make a baby gassy. Anything that
How is that even possible?
It's not. Anything that makes you have heartburn is going to give the baby reflux. If it gives you reflux, it's going to give the baby reflux. Because you all are working off the same esophagus, I guess. I don't know. And ridiculous. Like the food stuff is unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, here. I have some. Okay, so caffeine. Caffeine's a big one. That's a big one that people think they can't have.
Have it up. Take it.
Do we have an episode on caffeine?
I don't think we do.
I don't think we do. I don't even know if we need one. Just drink caffeine. If you want.
Please drink it if you want.
I feel like these things like chocolate, caffeine, a glass of wine, like these are things that are just so rude to tell a new mom not to have.
Right.
Give me a break. These are like the things that are going to get you through. If this is something that you enjoy, these are the things that are going to get you through, these difficult times.
And it's not even something like, I had somebody once tell me when she was pregnant, I think it was in a childbirth class or something. She was like, I don't even like beer, but the fact that my husband can have it and I cannot is annoying to me. And I just want one just because of that. And it really, like, it comes, like, you're pregnant for a long time. If you were trying to have a baby for a long time, you probably had given up alcohol or caffeine or really limited it or whatever, the caffeine. And then you have this baby and people are like, oh, by the way, you should breastfeed for, 3 years and you can't have alcohol or caffeine during that time. Whatever. No. Cross it off the list. You can have it. It is fine.
Okay, fish. Fish is next on the list.
Like none? No fish at all? Even cooked?
Well, oh yeah, no, cooked. Even no.
Why? Because of the mercury? I don't even know.
Yeah, right. Because of the mercury or because, yeah. Pollutants, just in general. But again, these are the things that you're even if you're not breastfeeding.
Right. Yeah.
If you're not breastfeeding, if you want to avoid these things, then avoid it altogether, not just because you're breastfeeding.
But there are cultures that, like, that's what they live on.
Right. And there's lower mercury level foods, and there's fish types of fish.
Plus,
if that's your concern, but you can eat it. You can eat that when you're breastfeeding.
Yeah, and really, like, with stuff like that, if you're unsure or if you're not getting a good answer, like, because with the mercury, I don't even know, like, okay, what's, how much mercury should you get? How much is too much? What is, like, I don't even know. So if you're doing it in moderation, I would think you're fine. But who's eating fish every single day, really?
Right. But you're right. There are cultures that eat fish every day, multiple times a day.
Right. In some way, shape, or form, I'm sure.
Right.
But
okay. And then, oh, sorry.
No,
I just had the list. I'm just like really into this list I found on Google.
Oh my God. It makes me nuts.
Okay. So peppermint, parsley, and sage.
Oh, good Lord. Parsley?
I know. Yeah.
So don't eat the garnish off your plate when you go out to eat, because that little sprig of parsley is going to damage your milk supply. Is that it?
And then, then food, right. And then foods to limit. So spicy foods. Garlic. And then foods with allergens, like dairy, soy, gluten, eggs, peanuts, citrus, and fish. Oh!
It's like everything.
Yeah, don't eat. Jeez. I mean, this is the kind of thing that makes me be like, no wonder people are stopping breastfeeding.
Right.
Because you just get this message that every single thing you do is damaging your baby.
Right.
It's just fear mongering all over the place. I am the conspiracy theorist that these things are rooted in, profit making corporations. That we put this out there, that they somehow get all of this information out there, all these myths.
Right.
So that you give up and then you use their product.
And I was just like, I was just kind of thinking on that same road, because people are like, okay, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. This ingredient isn't good. This has got too much pollutants. This has this, whatever. But did you look at what a can of formula has in it? Has anybody looked at the ingredients in a can of formula? The allergens that are in a can of formula? Like, you are not going towards something that's more pure or something that's better. Like, there's no way. And I had somebody tell me one time that her doctor told her, this was several years ago, but her doctor told her that it didn't matter if she breastfed or formula fed, because there's so many pollutants in our system now that it's all the same. Which,
that's insane.
It is insane. It's like, I don't even know how you can graduate from a medical school and think that that's true.
Right.
Because that is insane.
It's right. And if you I used formula with my first son. Mm-hmm. And if you use formula with your children, and if you don't want to breastfeed and you decide to use, and you have all the information, you decide to use formula, fine.
Right.
But don't feel like you have to stop breastfeeding and use formula because you're somehow saving your baby from all of the, yucky, disease-infested whatever that's in your body.
Right.
That's not how it works. Your breast milk is perfect. even living in this world, your breast milk is perfect.
One of the things that used to drive me crazy, and I don't hear it as much anymore, and maybe, I mean, I still hear it sometimes, but when a mother will tell me that she was instructed to supplement or to switch to formula because they suspect that her baby has some kind of allergy. The baby's not tolerating the milk well. Something's going on, and they think it's probably like a dairy allergy, a soy allergy, or something like that. And they put the baby on formula. And I say, well, what kind of formula is the baby on? And it's just a regular, normal formula. And I'm like, but that is milk-based. So here, your doctor thinks your baby has some kind of problem with your diet because of dairy or something else, yet you're giving your baby a milk-based formula. That doesn't make any sense.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy talk.
It is. It is.
Crazy Town. The train just stopped at Crazy Town. And everyone's getting off and running around.
Everybody's getting off.
And freaking out in Crazy Town.
So the food thing, and the other thing, too, this is another one of those, it's very logical, and when I say it, everybody's going to go, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But when somebody tells me, I don't think I should, this just happened recently to me, I don't think I should be eating spicy food, or I'm trying to stay away from the spicy food. So, okay, why? Well, I heard it didn't agree with the baby. It's supposed to make the baby more fussy. Okay, well, did you eat spicy food when you were pregnant? Oh, yeah, I did. If you eat something when you are pregnant, if you take something when you are pregnant, it goes directly to the baby. Directly to the baby. Mm-hmm. If you have your baby, everything gets metabolized and broken down first before it goes to the baby. So if you had something or took something or did something, like if you ate a food while you were pregnant and it was fine, you were fine, everything was fine, you can eat it when you have a baby and you're breastfeeding because the baby got it already. Baby's already tasted that. Mm-hmm. It's very,
I think,
drives me crazy.
That's the same logic that I use with alcohol, because people confuse people confuse drinking alcohol while you're pregnant with drinking alcohol while you're breastfeeding. And these are two separate things. Like you just said, when you are pregnant and you drink alcohol, it goes directly to your baby. Mm-hmm. It's not the same when you're breastfeeding.
Right.
It's not the same. It doesn't go to your baby the same way. And I think people confuse these things.
They do. And, and I get the same thing like postpartum when a mom will say, well, I'm not taking this medication. Maybe she had a cesarean or whatever, and she doesn't want to take anything for pain because she's breastfeeding. And it's like, but what they gave you before your cesarean is way worse than what you could possibly be taking right now. So do not suffer, but nobody's putting it into that. Suffer. Nobody's putting it into that, into that box. It is, everything goes directly to the baby.
We don't think about that. So, I know people don't think about that. Like the pain medication you took during birth, and I don't know if I should take this. I have a headache. I don't know if I should take something for it.
Or
oh my God, take something for it.
Take something for it because
don't suffer. I mean, having a headache when you're trying to take care of a newborn, that's not.
Oh
no,
you can't do that. It's totally
that's too much.
But yeah, the food thing makes me absolutely lose my mind. And people say, oh, but I gave up. I had somebody tell me once that she thought blueberries made her baby fussy. Blueberries.
Oh my God.
It's the healthiest thing you can put in your body. People think you eat a food and your baby is fussy. There is not going to be a day when your baby is not fussy for some reason at some point.
Right.
It is good. If we are all aiming to have a baby that is never a fussy ever, and if they are, we're just going to blame it on the food that we eat, man, we're all in a world of shit because there is no way anybody's going to be able to eat anything if you think your baby is fussy over everything you eat.
Right. And I remember you and I were talking about I don't know, toxins or something like that. And you were like, people need to stop and look at their every single day. Like, think about the things that you're running into every single day that are just toxic.
I mean,
you know, is it worse? I mean, is it really what is like taking an aspirin because you have a headache? Is that worse?
Right. Like, balance it out. Like,
Yeah, we're confronted with toxins all the time. And you know what? Your body knows what to do with those.
Right. I mean, we have to think about these things logically. Our brain goes out the window when we have a baby. We just need to, like, think about it logically and be
and it really does.
It does.
Like, your brain, you really don't. If you just had a baby, you don't consider yourself not having a brain.
Right.
And it's okay. It's okay. You'll get your brain back eventually, I've heard. But you, you know, it's normal to just like, you know, again, I was having this conversation earlier too. It's like, it's hard to stop in those because having a newborn is like survival mode, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, your brain shuts down and you're just in survival mode. And so you forget to like stop. And also, you've never done this before. Right. If you're a first-time parent, you've never done any of this. You don't know what questions to ask. You don't know. You're scared. You know, all of you out there who are listening to this, like, you know, who are like, oh, you know, I hope that we don't sound like we're insulting you, like your intelligence, because that's not at all like.
No, not at all.
No, like we were all there too. Like it's, you know, we just don't. When you've never done it before, when you don't know the questions to ask, when you're just feeling lonely and isolated and you're being confronted with billions of pieces of information, you know, from all sides and everybody and the internet, it's really confusing. Mm-hmm. It's really outrageously confusing and it's hard to know what to do.
And all you want is the best for your baby.
Yeah, that's what you're trying to do. That's why it's so scary because all you want to do is protect your baby.
Right. Yeah, it's really overwhelming, but yeah. So the food thing drives me crazy. We could talk about that for all day.
Are there any foods that you shouldn't eat when you're breastfeeding?
No. I mean, you do sometimes have those babies that are sensitive to dairy, but even then, like, it shouldn't be a forever thing. You know, maybe whatever in the beginning or. As if they're younger, and then as they get older, they should be able to tolerate it a little bit better. But every time a baby is fussy, that gets thrown in the mix.
Right. Yeah. If your baby's fussy, that's like a symptom of everything.
Yeah. Like I can't.
Well, sorry, that's symptom of being a baby.
Right. And I cannot believe that there are this many babies in the world that can't tolerate dairy. Like everybody I meet, they're like, "Oh yeah, I gave up dairy," and you know, I'm like.
Yeah, I have a friend whose first baby was like very colicky, very, very, very like, you know, a very extremely upset baby. And she did just everything she could. She eliminated dairy. She did everything that she could to try to fix the problem. So she got pregnant again and she was like, I'm just giving up dairy now. I don't know, you know, what this baby's going to be like, but she just wanted to do it as like a preventative measure just to like, you know, make herself feel better as just like a security thing. And, you know, that's fine. Right. You know, she, you know, the new baby has never been diagnosed with like a dairy allergy or anything like that. She just decided she just wanted to do that just because I think she was a little bit traumatized from the first experience.
Yeah.
So that's what she's going to do. And that's fine. And if you don't want to have dairy, then don't have dairy. And if you suspect anything, you know, then go for it. But there's no rule out there saying, this is absolutely like a no-no for breastfeeding.
Right. There really is not. I mean, hard drugs.
There are no no-nos.
Obviously, you know, there are some, you know, very limited amounts of medication. People throw medications in this big cauldron and they're like, never take anything ever. And that's not true either. So like, definitely talk to somebody who knows before, if you're concerned.
Yeah, and there's so many things. There's another thing is like a lot of people who are suffering from, you know, anxiety and depression or whatever, who are taking or managing this with antidepressants or some sort of medication. You know, they're hearing from their doctor like, well, you have to wean or you can't breastfeed if you're on this medication. And a lot of times it's just not true.
It's not. It is not true.
And you can go. I mean, there's an app called LactMed. Mm-hmm. And there's Infant Risk Center. They have a hotline. There's all of these. There's resources out there for you where you can check this stuff out. And you know, a lot of times it's perfectly fine to continue breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And we get into cold and flu season. People are like, "Oh, what can I take? I don't want to hurt my baby." You're not
hurting your baby by not taking something and feeling good enough to take care of your baby. Like, you have to weigh the risks and the benefits here, you know? It's just, it's
right.
fine.
And it's not, yeah. I mean, when you swallow some cold medicine, it's not the same as putting the cold medicine in your baby's mouth.
Right. It's not.
Like, I don't do that. But when you swallow it and you breastfeed, it's fine.
It's absolutely okay. And there's, you know, we do have an episode on, I think we do have an episode on medications, but
we have an episode on breastfeeding while sick.
Oh, okay. So
where we talk a lot about
medication.
Yeah.
But like the bottom line with medications is that, you know, a lot of it depends on the dosage. A lot of it depends on the age of your baby. A lot of it depends on how frequently you're taking it. A lot of it depends on, was your baby a preemie or health compromised in any way? Like, it's not just like, oh, you want to take this medicine? You shouldn't because you're breastfeeding. Like, it just, there's too many variables there. And it just, I remember at one of our episodes talking about, I was so pissed, remember, because that doctor that I had to deal with at one of my offices, who I didn't know, by the way, most of the doctors I work with are great, but I didn't know him, and I had a client that needed an antibiotic, and he refused to prescribe it because he was like, I don't feel comfortable giving that to babies under the age of 10 or something like that. And I'm like, the baby's not taking it. The mother's taking it, and the baby's 14 months old and nursing twice a day. Like, why are we making this mother suffer? But he had zero cares in the world for how horrible that mother felt with her sinus infection.
Yeah. Ugh.
And it's just, that's not okay. It is not okay.
No, I had, when I was like second, I talk about this because it was such a big, it was like a life-changing ear infection that I had. Jack's like second year, and I just got this terrible ear infection, and I went to the doctor, and he didn't help at all. And then a couple days went on, and, you know, finally somebody was like, you need to go to an ENT. And so I got there when it was like very advanced, and it was just awful. And I said, I'm breastfeeding, you know, I'm breastfeeding. Please don't give me anything that's going to hurt my baby. And he was like, also totally uneducated, just like I was. And he gave me this like, basically like, cream for my ear. That's what it was like. That's the strength of it. And the ear infection progressed into a horrible, horrible thing. And finally, I think I like posted about it on Facebook or something, and a lactation consultant / pediatrician who I had befriended saw it, and she messaged me, and she was like, because I had what's that really strong antibiotic called?
Oh, like the
No. The opposite. They were using it for the it's got the same name as that band. Oh, what's the
the band?
Yeah. There's like this it's like it's used to oh god. Anthrax.
Oh, my God.
It's used to treat anthrax. What's the So there's a band named Anthrax, Diane.
Yes, I know that, but I didn't know there was an antibiotic that treated anthrax.
Yes. So people are like probably like screaming this into the.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
I have to just know.
Yeah, there's a zillion different antibiotics. So
it's oh my God, I can't think of what it's called right now. It doesn't matter. It's like strong, and it's like very effective antibiotic. Mm-hmm. And it's like eardrops. I had it, and I was like, I can't take this. He told me not to take it, and whatever. She was like, take it. Take it. Put it in your ear right now. Right now. Put it in your ear. Cipro.
Yes.
Put it in your ear right now. And I was like, no, he said it was maybe not safe. And she's like, put it in your ear right now. It's not going to hurt your baby. It's just an eardrop. And I'm thinking now, I'm like, I think back on the situation, and I'm like, I was afraid that putting eardrops into my ear was going to go into my breast milk and then harm my baby. Mm-hmm. Like, how many steps away, how many bodily functions away are those two things? Like, it's not even possible.
No. And I've had moms.
But I was so scared. I was so just like, mom, dead brain, scared.
Right.
You know. Ugh.
I know. I've had people ask me that about like creams for their skin, mm-hmm. like eczema or psoriasis or, you know, poison ivy. God, any of that stuff. They're like, can I use this cream? I'm like, is it on the nipple? They're like, no. And I'm like, well, then yeah, absolutely, you can.
Yeah.
There's no harm in it. Just don't rub your baby in it. Like, you know, like, is it anywhere near
Don't
the
squirt it in their mouth.
Right. Like, if it's not touching the baby, then it's not gonna, it's fine. It's a cream. Topicals, anything, like eardrops, all that stuff. Like, come on. Let's be realistic here, people.
Yeah.
It's totally okay.
Yeah.
Do not suffer. Do not suffer.
Yeah, don't suffer and enjoy your life.
Yeah.
I think that's the bottom line. The breastfeeding no-nos are so much about fear-mongering. And, you know, the roots of it I'm suspicious of. And there's really no truth to it.
It really is not.
So enjoy your food. Enjoy the newborn days. I remember when I had Jack, my first baby, and I was so scared. And I remember saying to my dad that, you know, being worried about everything. And he was like, he looked at me and he was like, you were probably like a week old when I had you on my knee, like bouncing on my knee.
Oh my
you know,
God.
he's like, enjoy your baby. And like, I didn't know how to. I just couldn't. I was consumed with anxiety and fear about everything.
Yeah.
Which I think is, you know,
It's normal.
kind of common.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So, you know, I can sit here and say enjoy your baby, and I know that it's not that easy. But if there are, you know, things like this, like the, you know, that you're wondering about that you might enjoy, that might help you enjoy things, then you know, the advice that you're getting, there's no basis to it. There's no evidence there.
No, it's not. There's no evidence. It's just stuff that people are putting out there that, you know, maybe helped them, whatever. But it's not something that you need to look at and say, okay, this is gospel. This is absolutely everything that's happening. Because there really shouldn't be rules. There are no rules. There's no diehard rules for behind breastfeeding. Enjoy your baby. That's pretty much it. That's your only rule. Is like, enjoy your baby.
Lay down and breastfeed your baby.
Right. Relax.
Latch on and what is it? Latch on and carry on. Latch your baby.
Something like that.
Keep calm and
keep calm and latch on or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So that's what we think everybody should do. Keep calm and latch on.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's it. And that's, you know, like, I thought that we would get through more no-nos, but I totally get sidetracked with the big ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you have more? I mean, just to list?
Not really.
No. But I mean, that's like, those are the big ones,
yeah,
I think.
those are the big ones. And, you know, we talk about alcohol. We talk about, like, hard drug use, you know, that's obviously a no-no.
That's not, that's not.
We have
recommended for a whole bunch of reasons too.
Right.
I mean, you know, just you can't parent.
No, you cannot. We've talked a little bit about, Abby and I, you know, to each other, have talked a little bit about marijuana and breastfeeding because that's becoming more prevalent in the United States. But we don't have a ton of information on it. There's not a whole lot of great research studies, so we're gonna see what we can find out about.
But
that.
we are, we're very excited to. We're on it. We're going to be getting some. A guest that is going to, who's, you know, a little bit better versed in that area, and we're going to have a really awesome conversation about that.
We don't want to give you wrong information. So,
right.
So we're just going to stick with what we know on that. And
but well, and that's a whole episode in and of itself. Yeah. That cannot be thrown in with, a conversation about other things. That has to be its own episode.
But believe
because it's, you know, it's a thing now. Yeah. It's coming.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that at some point.
Yes.
But otherwise, this is, you know, like, do not worry about the no-nos.
Don't worry about it. And we'd love to hear from you. If you would love to share, you know, we'd love to hear from you, your experience. You can share it in the review section at iTunes. And you might be also one of the reviews of the week.
Yeah.
And then head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com for sponsor links and our promo codes and all of the other episodes. And now you can find us on YouTube at Badass Breastfeeding Podcast.
You know you want to watch us on YouTube.
You do. We're fun.
Yes.
I mean, it's just this, and then you see our faces.
Because we have faces.
And just for now, it's just the minis, the mini podcasts that are there. But eventually we'll get the big, long ones like this on there, too.
Yeah, it'll be so fun.
Okay, bye.
Bye.